Hi, everyone, and welcome to this presentation of the Glider Capo. My name is Greg Bennett. If I had to guess, I would guess that already many of you are asking yourself, do we really need a demonstration of the capo? And because of that, I'd like to ask you to please hang with us through this because this little device is just incredibly unique, both mechanically and in terms of what it will allow you to do musically. It really does push the boundaries of the typical capo. So let's first start with a look at the close-up look at the engineering. As you look at this, you'll see that it's two systems, a set of soft rubber rollers, and two springs, which we refer to as a dual tensioning system. And if you come in on that top roller, you'll notice that there's a slight curve to it, and we refer to that as the composite radius. Most all fingerboards have a slight curve to them, which is called a radius, and it's sort of like an arc on a larger circle. So we designed this to accommodate most of those fingerboard shapes. Where you may get into trouble is with a vintage electric guitar that has maybe a 7.5 or 9.5 inch radius, and that's a fairly severe curve on the fingerboard. Feels great to play, it's just rough on capos because it's difficult to get the outside E strings down to the fret without buzzing. The other cool thing about this design, this sort of round shape, is that unlike most capos where there's a flat metal bar and then a thin piece of rubber glued to it, which can be kind of rigid, this shape, coupled with the fact that the material is kind of soft and the fact that at the bottom of that barrel it's sort of narrow, it just makes it more flexible, more cushy, and therefore a bit more accommodating for those extreme radiuses. If you look at the back roller, it's sort of like two cones sort of stuck together, and that shape, coupled with the two springs, serves to center the capo on the neck and on the fingerboard, and we'll discuss how important that is in a second. Now, to put it on the guitar, you just simply pull off that cap, goes on and off, super easy. You'll hold that top roller, the roller that frets the guitar, and just slip the cap on like so. And the first thing you'll notice it's in tune. I didn't have to search for that mystical, magical spot. I didn't have to fine-tune it. Some of you with those bionic ears, which I would give body parts to have, but you may hear a bit of a pitch flex, but do keep in mind that even if you're just fretting a guitar or playing a chord without a capo, you're going to stretch the strings and get some of that. So it does maintain the tuning really, really well. Now, the way it does that is, as I mentioned, that back roller, the shape of that back roller coupled with those two springs, make sure that you have equal pressure all across that roller. It's all even, so the strings are pulled down to the same degree. It can't bias or skew to one side or the other like a clamp will sometimes do, which would, of course, raise the pitch of your bass or treble strings. This system also has less tension than a typical clamp, and the nice thing about that is, coupled with these soft rollers, it just makes it really gentle on those nickel-silver frets, and also exceptionally gentle on natural finishes like lacquer and varnish. And we live here in Nashville, and there's nothing sadder, heartbreaking really, than when you come across one of these beautiful old vintage acoustics, and because of years of capo use, there's a trough or a channel up the back of the neck. It just breaks your heart. So very gentle on the back. Also, that reduced tension makes it really function well on an electric with lighter gauge strings and jumbo frets. If you've ever tried that, you know you usually have to retune the guitar. Now, on the downside of the reduced tension, it's not very good for 12 string. There's just not enough tension to pull those strings down and avoid buzzing. And the flip side of that, on a nylon string with larger necks, it creates too much tension. So we don't recommend it for 12 strings or classics, but great for 6-string acoustic and 6-string electric. Now, so far, we've talked about the mechanics of it. It goes on easily, comes off easily. The composite radius makes it work with most fingerboards. The reduced tension and the rollers, very gentle on the frets and the finish, and also, like we said, works with an electric guitar as well. What's it do musically? Well, let's say you're on stage doing the big open mic night, and you've just finished a tune, and the next tune you want to change keys. You simply give it a roll. all the way, and you're just giving it a shove with your right hand. You can also push it with your thumb from the back. And I'm just giving it a quick poke. Okay? And finally, when you're not using it during your set, you can just push it up over the nut. And you'll notice when I did that, I pushed it up and then gave it a little gentle tug back. You want to have it very close to the nut. If it sits out here, an inch or so up from the nut, it will pull the strings down and you'll get some pitch flex. But right at the nut, you're good to go. And finally, in the category of pushing the boundaries of the typical capo, I want to show you how you can actually use this to change key or pitch in the middle of a song. We refer to it as real-time modulation. Thanks everyone for sticking with me through this demonstration. I hope you found it interesting, and mostly I hope you'll have a chance to try out the glider on your own. And if you come up with anything interesting and unique musically, please feel free to send us a video. We'd love to see it. And again, thanks for sticking with us.